good fantasy players will have, I guess, a strategy or players at the end of the draft that they want to take because they know they have a high upside. They're getting drafted really late, so rather than taking a fucking defense or a kicker in the 10th round, 11th round, you still have options, good flex players, receivers, running backs, tight ends, things like that, that have a chance of really catapulting themselves by the end of the season. So I'm going to get into players outside the top 100 ADP that I think will finish the season inside the top 50 rankings. So let's get started. First guy I wanted to talk about was Emmanuel Sanders. He is currently going at 101, and he was pretty productive on the Steelers last year for the last couple of years, and now that he is on the Broncos, he's got Peyton Manning throwing him the ball. And like probably many of you already know, Wes Welker just got diagnosed with his third concussion in the last 10 months or something like that. So Welker's a huge concern for injury. I mean, he's getting through the tests and he should be ready for week one to go. But the fact that the injury label is going to be there all season. Welker's a small receiver. Not that he gets hurt a lot, really, besides the concussions, but the concussions is a huge deal. The way the NFL has been really like bearing down on the concussions, and you never know. He's one hit away from possibly ending his season, ending his career, things like that. So that's really why Emmanuel Sanders will be on this list because he's a good receiver. He's not like a bullshit player. Um, Now, if Welker goes down, he'll step right into the slot. And last preseason game, he came in. He had 5 catches for I think 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. So him and Manning obviously have a little chemistry there. And if he steps in as the slot role where Welker is, or even taking the position that Decker was at last year, he's going to put up numbers probably similar to what Decker put up last year. So anything 1,000 yards and 6 to 8, maybe even more touchdowns is definitely not out of his possibility. So that's a receiver for you. Let's move to a tight end. Um, Zach Ertz for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going, what is he going? Around 101, 102, so right outside the top 100. And since the tight end class is so deep, I definitely wouldn't suggest reaching for the top tight ends. I mean, unless you really, really feel that that gives you a huge advantage in your league, or your league plays. I know I'm in a league where the tight end gets 1.5 points per reception, which is fucking weird, but whatever. Um, so just like the QB position, there's so many good players in the back ends of the draft that you can get. I wouldn't suggest taking one in the first couple rounds. Unless you got a really good value. Like if you're getting Jimmy Graham at the end of the second round or something like that, don't skip on him. But Zach Ertz, yeah. So this guy is like an athletic freak. He's primed for a breakout this year. Right now he's actually behind Brent Selleck on the depth chart. But that's only because of his Selleck's blocking. But Ertz really came on at the end of last year, putting up really good numbers the last few games of the season. Him and Foles have gotten a good chemistry. Foles played with Gronkowski at Arizona in college, and he um, was quoted this offseason saying that Ertz is just as talented, if not more talented, than Gronkowski was. So he's played with both of them, and he's comparing Ertz to Gronkowski. Ertz runs a faster 40 time. He has a higher vertical jump than Gronk. And there's a quote that came out from the tight ends coach on the Eagles saying that Ertz is one of the best route runners he's ever seen. So Ertz is getting all this hype. He's played well in the preseason, nothing crazy, but um, the Eagles are going to run a ton of two tight end sets this offseason. I mean, this season, not offseason, sorry. This season. So he, regardless where he is on the depth chart, he's going to be their pass catching tight end, and he's going to get plenty of snaps, plenty of playing time, um, and he's going to be their main red zone target. So with Deshaun Jackson out, obviously it's more targets for all the receivers on the team, which is good for Ertz. And I think he's going to catch a ton of touchdowns in that offense, and he's going to be a really productive player with a breakout year. Okay, let's move to a wide receiver. This guy I love. He's probably my highest out of the top ADP of 100. I think this guy's my favorite. It's Kelvin Benjamin from the Carolina Panthers. He was the first round draft pick for them this 2014 NFL draft. He's 6'5", 240 pounds out of Florida State. He's going at like 120 or 122, so you can get him real late in the drafts. Um, and he's a guy who has done awesome this offseason. There's question marks coming in about his hands. His He lacks elite speed, but so does so many of the top receivers. Speed's not really a huge issue if you could run great routes and you can catch the ball. So far this offseason, they've been raving about him catching everything that's thrown his way. Him and Cam Newton um, have developed an awesome chemistry. It seems that like every time Cam Newton throws the ball, he's looking to Benjamin's way first. With Steve Smith's out, Brandon LaFell's out, almost all his top receivers are gone from last season. So Benjamin's gonna come in and take that number one receiver spot for the Panthers, and he's gonna get a ton of targets. Like I said, he's huge. He will get the red zone targets. They're gonna throw him jump balls, and I really see him emerging as a 800 yards, maybe more. Probably eight touchdowns minimum. I think with all the red zone targets he's going to get, they throw to him downfield, they throw to him across the middle, anything like that. I really think Benjamin's going to have a huge breakout year for a rookie. I think he's going to be the top rookie receiver. Um, and like I said, you can get him real late. His ADP is 122, so you could probably grab him at the 10th round. I know he's getting a lot more hype as the offseason goes on, so he's probably getting picked earlier in drafts, but I'd still um, look out to get him in the ninth, 10th round, something like that. As for running backs, I don't see a lot of potential outside the ADP 100, but obviously there are always guys who make it into the higher rankings that are ranked outside.